Hi, friends. Welcome to Direct Impact Broadcasting. The network of growth and transformation presents S.O.S For Leaders, where your host, Tywauna Wilson, will be sharing leadership and personal growth strategies. Let's jump right in.
Welcome to S.O.S For Leaders. I am your leadership mentor and host, Tywauna Wilson. A little bit about myself for those of you that don't know me, but I help professionals unleash their star power by growing their leadership so that they can stand out, get promoted, and most importantly, get paid in their careers. If this is your first time tuning into the show, I'm so excited and glad that you landed on this podcast. Thank you for checking it out. And if you could do me a favor, share it out with somebody in your network. If you are a returning listener, thank you so much for continuing to support the show and listen. And if you could share it out, would be awesome as well, because there's something that keeps you listening each time a new show airs. Today, we'll continue our series on imperfection. And specifically today, we're going to talk about reasons to embrace imperfection in the workplace. You're at work, you want to do a good job. That's what most people want to do. You want to do better than good, matter of fact. You want to stand out and be noticed. After all, how do you expect to stand out, get promoted, and rise to as high as you can if you're not doing outstanding work? Right? These are questions that you might ask yourself. Well, this kind of work ethic can be admirable, but at the same time, it can take you down the slippery slope towards perfectionism. So there is a balance there. Oddly enough, you think this would be a good thing if you're looking for accolades and promotions and raises. But in all honesty, nothing could be further from the truth. Perfectionism is what cripples you. There's this quote by Julia Cameron, and she says, "Perfectionism is not a quest for the best. It is a pursuit of the worst in ourselves, the part that tells us that nothing we do will ever be good enough." And I find that it can make you stand still. It can make you freeze up and feel like you're never going to measure up. It's what pushes you towards that unhealthy obsession and drives both you and your coworkers nuts. What you're looking for is imperfection. And here's why. Imperfection makes us more aware. When we acknowledge we don't know everything, we're more in touch with our abilities. We see our shortcomings in those areas which need work. This is really an advantage versus a disadvantage. If you know where you're lacking, you're more likely to reach out to team members for help, which is always seen as a good thing in the workplace. Managers would rather see you as a solid team member than a wannabe superstar any day, because there are going to be some things that you're not good at. And if you're out here trying to be good in those areas and you know that those are not areas that you're good at, you are going to be seen as a wannabe and trying too hard. So imperfection does make us more aware, especially in those areas where we can use help, where we can use coaching, where we can use mentoring, where there's a project that comes up and they're looking for a specific skill set. We know that we wouldn't volunteer to lead that project if that's not our skill set. So imperfection makes us more aware in the workplace. It also shows mercy. How do you react when a coworker screws up? The perfectionist is usually right there to dissect the disaster. This happened because of this, and this is why they messed up. Worse, they'll never let you forget it. And when you're the person who made the mistake, that's tough. Imperfection acknowledges everyone is human. When mistakes happen, which they will, the person who embraces imperfection is more likely to show empathy and understanding. And on a team, this is crucial. This also does wonders for your mental health when you're the one who screwed up and you're able to show yourself the same mercy as you show others. So think about that. Think about, being able to show mercy when somebody make a mistake. Is nothing worse than making a mistake and having to relive it over and over and over and over again. So think about that when a team member makes a mistake. I can remember when I first started out in my laboratory career, and I was training in differentials, reading blood smears for those of you that are not in the lab environment. And I can remember during my training, I did my diffs, and there was a certain area that I needed to put in my comments, but I had to take out this particular code that was there by default. Well, nobody had ever told me during the training that my comments won't show up on the report if I don't take out that code first. And so, I let a few of those go out. I'm putting in all these comments that never made it to the report. And, my boss came to me and let me know that I made that mistake, and other people knew about it. And it's like they didn't let me live that down. I'm thinking to myself, it was a mistake that happened as part of training. I mean, if we would have had other things in place, maybe I wouldn't have made the mistake, but I did. And so, that was something that I felt like I had to, relive it and relive it. And then I had, some coworkers that would, have me relive it and relive it. But then when they made a mistake, I wasn't one to throw it in their face and make them relive it, because I know that we're human and mistakes happen. So showing that mercy, if you show mercy to other people, then they start to model that and they show mercy to you. So do, as they say, do unto others as you want or would like for them to do on to you. Imperfection keeps your head out of the clouds. A perfectionist is always going to overestimate their abilities. After all, they still think they can do things perfectly. This means your perfectionist is more likely to miss deadlines or not get the work done at all. The one who embraces imperfection will add failure into the equation, planning for it. They're more likely to set achievable goals. So when you keep your head out of the clouds, you understand that my goal was to get to X, and I know that I'm probably going to make some mistakes. I'm probably going to miss some deadlines along the way, and it allows you to plan for that and set achievable goals versus trying to set something and the timetable or the timeline is probably not reasonable. So that's one of the things that imperfection helps you keep your heads out of the clouds and living in la la land about what's possible. And then in the workplace, especially if you have big projects that are multi-department or cross-functional team projects, you definitely need to not have your head in the cloud. Because there's other people that will affect those goals of getting the project done. And they may not work like you. And imperfection does build better teams. The perfectionists will want to do everything themselves. And that's why they are overworked and stressed out. And their teammates mentally some days cannot handle them and their work ethic. Imperfection allows you to delegate tasks. Perfection knows all of the answers. Imperfection asks better questions. Imperfection allows others to share ideas, acknowledge they might sometimes be wrong, and also learn from others' mistakes. A perfectionist, on the other hand, is the one who is more likely to throw the team into disarray. Imperfection helps you to work together smoothly and accomplish more. With all of this in mind, is it any wonder imperfection does belong in the workplace? So think about that. So do you think, after just going through that, do you think imperfection belongs in the workplace? After all, if it is the imperfectionists who truly have it all together. So yeah, imperfection is going to happen in the workplace. Is one of those things that it allows us to be more aware. It allows us to show mercy. It allows us to keep our heads out of the clouds and be more realistic. And it also allows us to build better teams. So I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. I hope you learned or understood some ways that imperfection really does make the team better, and there is a place for it in the workplace. So thank you so much for tuning in to this episode as you go throughout your day in your workplace and with your teams. Embrace some of the imperfection. Show some mercy as you are working with your teams, because after all, it will build a better team. So check out the next episode in this podcast. Please share it out with those who could benefit from listening to the show for these bite-sized practical tidbits. And until next time, have an amazing day.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of S.O.S For Leaders, where Tywauna shared nuggets of wisdom that you can use to win in life. Follow her on Facebook, Instagram, and connect on LinkedIn. And remember, the secrets of success in your life resides inside of you. When you know what your strengths are, you can utilize them to live an impactful and influential life.